A good knife is a chef's most essential tool, coveted, cared for, and sharpened daily. ZWILLING Henckels of Germany believes we're all worthy of a chef's knife. Their latest, the 1731 series, is cutting edge.
When I hold this knife for the first time, it was like an extension of my hand, of my arm, and that's what a knife should be. It's an instrument, but at the same time, it's very comfortable to hold.
For this creation, Henckels teamed up with Italian architect and industrial designer Matteo Thun.
It's about emotions, and the emotions start with the eye. The eye says, I want to touch, I love it.
Matteo Thun has quite a history in Europe for being a designer who can do industrial design but still do a very nice design. His philosophy is to do less in order to create more.
It looks simple enough. Clean lines, no ornate details. But coming up with a way to produce the 1731 took 4 years of development and some head-scratching on the production side.
Honestly, there was a conflict. Looking at it as an engineer, it gave me quite some headaches how to produce this.
The challenge was to combine German engineering with Italian design. You could actually say this knife was more than 275 years in the making. The iconic Henckels trademark was registered in June 1731, in the month of the zodiac sign Gemini. That's why the logo features twin strongmen. It's one of the oldest trademarks in existence. Henckels first made knives and swords for weaponry in the German city of Zollingen, which became the knife capital of Europe.
And people who carried blades made in Solingen had an advantage because their blades were sharp and harder than most of the other blades.
By 1924, they had opened shops in Europe and even on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Today, their products are sold in more than 100 countries around the world and are still made in Zollingen. The blades for their chef knives are forged out of one single piece of steel made specifically for Henckels. It arrives at the factory already cut in a rectangular shape called a blank.
It's a steel which has in fact been developed for the space shuttle, and this steel, which is very hard and very tough at the same time, it's a challenge to machine it or to grind it.
The steel blanks start out in the forging department, where the work is done by robots. The first operation is to form what is called the bolster, the thick metal part which joins the handle to the blade, adding weight and balance to the knife.
So the sheet of metal is heated up. Out of this heat, it's already white glowing, it's forging temperature. The robot puts it into the forge, where the bolster area is forged. On the other side of the forge, another robot takes it out.
The shape of the blade is cut while the steel is still relatively soft. This is done in a drop hammer press, which uses 200 tons of pressure. Then the robots give a preliminary grind to the blades.
The very next step is a milling. The bolster is milled in order to have a nice alignment with a wooden handle afterwards.
Another press shapes what is called the tang, the section of steel that will sit inside the handle. Holes are punched in it so the wood handle can be attached later. Temporary pins are placed in the handles so the blades can hang on racks through the next few steps. The eventual marriage of handle and blade is the key to a great knife.
The engineers were quite surprised when I tested the knife always like this. That means physical balance. If you have a physical balance, you have also an emotional balance. You have also a balance in the use for whatever you do, meat or vegetable or fruit or bread.
In their factory in Zollingen, Germany, the blades have been forged and cut into rough shapes. Now they're loaded into ovens to harden.
For hardening, you need to heat up the knife to above, say, 1000 degrees Celsius and cool it down very quickly in order to change the inside structure to the hard structure of steel, and after that we temper it. We need to temper it because if you only harden it, it's very brittle. You could easily break this knife.
In the tempering oven, the blades are heated twice to 200 degrees Celsius, then cooled slowly to room temperature.
Once the blades come out of the heat treatment, you have to inspect them, whether they are still straight. Mostly they are, due to the special process we're using. If not, you have to straighten them out by hand.
Now that the blades are hardened, it's back to the swashbuckling robotic team, where the blades are set at the right angle for some serious grinding.
The blades are being ground on each side 2 times. A rough ground and afterwards a fine ground to create the smooth surface on the blades.
A constant stream of cool water prevents the blades from overheating during the grinding process. The blades are then dipped in a synthetic resin to protect them while their wooden handles are mounted.
The handle is made from Makassar ebony wood, and this wood is very hard and it's very dense, so it won't take up very easily too much moisture.
For the 1731 series, they came up with a very special glue so you would see no rivets in the finishing, giving it a sleek, modern look.
Giving continuity between steel and wood is also my personal idea of easy to clean. If a knife is easy to clean, it's a good knife. If you have corners, if you have sharp angles, it's not easy to clean.
The glue is heated to the consistency of molasses and poured into the seams of the handles. Then more glue is applied to the handle area, or the tag, and both are clamped together in a vise.
After the handles are being attached, the knife has to rest for several days to allow this special glue to harden. After that, the handles are ground. You want to align them very nicely with the metal parts.
Now they grind the excess glue away from the handle and begin the process of finishing the ebony, where craftsmanship and experience come into play.
There are only 3 people inside this factory who can do this very nicely.
The wood is polished with a paste on a fine cotton wheel, giving it a deep ebony finish. Now the crucial step. The blades are hand sharpened, achieving thicknesses of thousandths of millimeters. The logo is now lasered on, and there's one final ultrasonic cleaning before the knives, like blades of glory, get packed and shipped.
Will this knife make you a better cook? Honestly, the knife will make you use it more often, so you'll get a bit more practice, and by that, well, probably you'll be a better cook, sure.
Classic design is timeless. Classic design looks like zero design, and you should never get, as a consumer, you should never get the feeling it was designed by a designer. That means good design.